Magic wasn't always called Magic. In fact, when the first solicitation for the game was sent out, the game was called Mana Clash. The reason for this is as follows. Richard Garfield called the game Magic when he originally designed it. All through the original playtests, the game was called Magic. Then when they went to officially name it, a lawyer involved said that Magic was too universal to be copyrighted, so they looked for an alternate name. They came up with Mana Clash. Although everyone continued to call it Magic, the name was too perfect. They went back to the lawyer, and the lawyer said they had to come up with something more ownable, and Magic the Gathering was the name they came up with. Even though Alpha was released with the name Magic the Gathering, it wasn't originally Richard Garfield's intent that it would always be that name. Richard's original idea was the game would keep reinventing itself. When Ice Age would come out, it would be renamed Magic Ice Age. The plan was scrapped when they realized they would have to keep the copyright, they would have to re-copyright it every single time, and the name stuck, Magic the Gathering, and people liked it that way and would not have to continue to buy cards for each set. But they do anyway because of standard, you know. Another thing that almost ended up being really different was the mana cost. During the original playtests, before it was released, here's how the mana cost worked. Let's say you had the spell Giant Growth. Now we would write that as 1 green. But back then, while they were doing playtests, it was written as 1 and 1 green. This meant that the spell costs 1 mana to play, and one of them had to be green. On the back of a Magic card, it says Deckmaster. What does that mean? The idea was that Wizards was going to release a whole brand of different card games with Deckmaster on the back as a whole sub-brand. Another change that took place in Magic's history was the logo. On the card it's blue, but everywhere else it's yellow. This is because they wanted to make a eye-popping logo. Also, if you look at the back of the card, it still says TM as a normal trademark, but on their logo, it's actually a registered trademark, an R in a circle, not a floating TM. This is because they did not want to disrupt the look of the back of the card to make different. The back of the card was also going to change each expansion to force people to make new cards. This idea was abandoned. Alpha had some pretty bad misprints, like Orcish Oriflame was on the ban list because of this. There was one basic land that's printed more than anything else, and most of you would say island, but it's mountain, because in Arabian Nights it was the only land printed. When the game started, there was no tap symbol. That came in revised. But in Alpha, it just said tap to blah blah blah. In Alpha, it just said mono artifact on an artifact. That meant it could only be used once per turn and must have been tapped to use it. Poly artifacts are different. Booster packs have been sold in 4 different amounts of cards. 12, 15, 6, and 8. The card in Unglued, Ow, holds the record for the shortest named card, unless you count -- in Unhinged, but that's not a name. Pemin's Aura is an anagram for I am Superman, but Morphling is referred to as the Superman. They added the bounce ability to Jace the Mind Sculptor because they wanted a better Planeswalker, because you can't get any better than Jace. Here's an interesting one. The original dual lands were going to be printed in Ice Age, but weren't. Peltagriff is an anagram for Garfield PhD. And questing Peltogriff is an anagram for questing Garfield PH. D. Koth of the Hammer. The beginning of each word spells Koth. Thrun the Last Troll is the last card to have the old wording for Hexproof. It is also featured on the artwork of Asceticism. Levenreel's Disc, Larry Niven backward. Voladian Knights is the only creature with flying in Fallen Empires. Wizards of the Coast released an RPG game for MtG in 1997. There is a pen mark on the back of every card. This is the end of part 1. As always, this was MtG Junior. Please like and subscribe.